This is the second collection of poetry that I've read by Pablo Neruda. I hope I am pronouncing his name correctly, just me with my Canadian accent screwing up international names once again. But I read 100 Love Sonnets by Neruda, translated by Stephen Tapscott, in the past week. Second book that I've read by this author, second collection of poetry, and I loved it. These are better than any sonnets I've read anywhere else. I am looking forward to reading more by this author. The layout of this edition in particular interested me, partly because you got the original Spanish on one side and the English translation on the other side. I do not read Spanish, I do not understand a word of Spanish, but it still is interesting to just see the original text beside it. This collection is love poems, of course, a lot of bread imagery, a lot of wheat imagery, a lot of plant and floral imagery. I always love good garden and floral imagery in my poetry. In my opinion, there's not a bad poem in this book. All of them have similar themes, similar imagery. They fit together as a whole, but each one expresses love in a different and new way. Forget Shakespeare. I know Stripped Coverlet has been doing Shakespeare sonnets lately. I just want to read Neruda. I guess the best thing to do to show off a collection of poetry is to share a couple of my favorite poems in here. So I've got them bookmarked. The first one I bookmarked, I actually wrote on the page, love this one. Page 13. Sonnet 4. You will remember that leaping stream, where sweet aromas rose and trembled, and sometimes a bird, wearing water and slowness, its winter feathers. You will remember those gifts from the earth, indelible scents, gold clay, weeds in the thicket and crazy roots, magical thorns like swords. You'll remember the bouquet you picked, shadows and silent water, bouquet like a foam-covered stone. That time was like never and like always. So we go there where nothing is waiting, and we find everything waiting there. What made the poem for me was that line in the last stanza. That time was like never and like always. What's more beautiful than that? Like never, like always. So we go there where nothing is waiting, and we find everything waiting there. I guess in a sense, it's these two lovers going to a place where they've been before, a physical place perhaps, where there's not really anything there. It's only when they get there, when they're together, that something exists in that space, that there's something special there. Without them, it's just a river, just flowers in a field, just stone. But as soon as they get there, there's something more there. The second one I want to share is on page 39. Forgive me, I'm not good with my Roman numerals after about 10 or 12, so XVII. Page 39. I do not love you as if you were salt rose or topaz, or the arrow of carnations the fire shoots off. I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret, between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that never blooms, but carries in itself the light of hidden flowers. Thanks to your love, a certain solid fragrance, risen from the earth, lives darkly in my body. I love you without knowing how or when or from where. I love you straightforwardly, without complexities or pride. So I love you because I know no other way than this, where I does not exist, nor you. So close that your hand on my chest is my hand. So close that your eyes close as I fall asleep. So there's nothing particularly original about the idea that when you're in love, you're no longer two people, you're one, which is what you get near the end of this poem. But what I really loved about this one was the first two lines of that second stanza. I love you as the plant that never blooms, but carries in itself the light of hidden flowers. I love anything with floral imagery with plant imagery. So those are two of my favorite poems in this collection. As I said at the start of this video, I would like to read more by this author. If you have any suggestions for me, what I should read next, please let me know in the comments. And I hope that if you haven't read anything by Neruda, that you will check out some of his poetry because it is wonderful.